Hello, welcome back to Passion Over Perfection. This is my brother.
This is my brother.
Yes, I am her brother. And today's topic is, why is passion cringe?
So today on Passion Over Perfection.
Ding 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 ding.
Passion is
Over?
cringe.
Yeah, passion is, well, is passion cringe?
Is passion cringe?
What makes something cringe? What is cringe?
Oh, now we're getting to the philosophical base, the bedrock. Okay, so cringe is basically something that doesn't follow societal like basics and like etiquettes and is quite outlandish.
You think? You'd call cringe?
That's the thing though, because it's very like it's subjectively against societal expectations, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Because cringe, what would be cringe? Like furries, people say is cringe. I'm not going to put my opinion because I don't have an opinion, but furries are seen as most people as cringe, and it's because it's something that they don't understand fully and they see it as different to what they would classify as a norm, which is what they normally do. So a manly guy would be like, oh, I'm shirtless, I'm gonna get ripped. And when they see a fat person, they're gonna fat shame that fat person, and they're gonna call that person cringe, so to speak, if that person thinks that being fat is like normal and healthy. So the manly guy will be like, oh no, you're such a weirdo and all this. Basically because they think it isn't the norm because it's not their norm. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, actually, that isn't the way I was thinking about it, so that's really interesting. Because now you've made me think, for example, if a guy was walking around shirtless, some people would be like, oh, he might think, oh yeah, I'm so ripped. Another person would be like, oh my god, that's so cringe.
Exactly. The cringe for me, even like what I would find cringe would probably be things that I don't do, and I find people who do that wrong. And then what's wrong would be just what I've been taught. So like Muslims have been brought up to think alcohol is wrong, but a white guy who's a Christian would never expect alcohol to be a bad thing other than like DUIs, because that's what the law said. If there was a country with no law against like drinking under the influence, doing drugs, and it wasn't against whatever religion they believed in, they would not think that as something that was wrong. So then they would see someone who's doing drugs as the norm if they all did it. Same as if everyone did drugs, then someone who didn't do drugs would be classified as weird. You go to a bar, everyone's drinking alcohol, someone's drinking water. Now that's going to be a bit weird. If someone's like at an adult place, like a very mature place, and they're playing with like a Spider-Man toy at the age of like 35, that might be classified as cringe if they're like talking about how like anime and like comic books are really like cool and they base their life over that. It's considered as cringe apparently, because that should be childish stuff. And basically that's what cringe is. It's like mature people saying that something that they find as immature is immature and criticizing that. That's basically what cringe is.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I don't even need this platform anymore. This isn't my podcast anymore. You can have it. So I 100% agree with your idea of cringe. When I was thinking more, and I think that goes really perfectly with what I wanted to say about passion. So passion is cringe comes from the idea, I don't think anyone who's doing something with their life is going to look at someone who's also trying to get somewhere with what they're doing as cringe. Cringe only comes from, oh, I'm not creating anything. So someone who's now starting to create something, oh, that's really cringe. And I think cringe is just used as this word where, well, I'm not doing it, so why are you? And oh, you're not even that good at it. And as soon as there's more views in that video, there's more likes on that video, all of a sudden it's no longer cringe and now it's acceptable, or even something that you should be inspired by. So cringe is very, very changeable even through time and through someone's experience. And I think that's pretty much what you said. And so it goes perfectly in line with that idea of well, if it's different from what you are doing, if it's different from what you've thought about for yourself, then it's cringe. Yeah.
It crosses over perfectly with the Grammys. Billie Eilish says,
"No one is illegal on stolen land."
"Oh, no one's illegal on stolen land." And then this girl in the crowd, the camera shifts to her, and she's like, "Oh, no one illegal." She's basically mocking. No, that's literally how she does it. And she's now gone viral rather than Billie Eilish going viral for saying something like stupid, which was what she thought was stupid. So she thought that Billie Eilish was cringe, but every single TikTok video with her, she's the cringe person because she's like apparently most comments with like 1,000 likes are saying stuff like, "Oh, she's so unknown that you can't even sue her. You can't even like talk bad about her because you don't even know her name." Some of the comments are like, "Oh, I had to search her up to know what she was like." It's basically just like it goes back to the point where everything that's believed like right or wrong or any idea on something is just what everyone's thought that it's like acceptable, which basically just goes from like the first person in power who said that.
And this is what I was going to say. There is a market for cringe. There's always been a market for cringe. Just like you were saying about the girl who's gone viral, people will watch cringe videos. They will enjoy cringe videos, sometimes at the expense of the person they find cringy. And so there's this entire, the person is then the pun of the joke. And sometimes the thing isn't even cringy, but a lot of people will find it cringe and suddenly it blows up because it's cringe and because there's a market of consumers who like cringe stuff, even if they make fun of it. And now I've forgotten what I was going to say.
And I should have forgotten what she was going to say. So you started off saying, "What is my passions?"
Yeah. So
So-
I think what stops people from pursuing passions is this fear of being cringe. When you
Yeah.
start out, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
This is cringe. Okay, everything that you start with can be perceived as cringe from an audience that isn't your target audience.
Exactly.
And so if you're so afraid of being perceived by other people, you're not going to get anything done. Because the right people, your audience, is from your authenticity. If you start trying to work with someone else's authenticity or appeal to a specific target audience that isn't what you are, then you've got now an audience that isn't your audience. And so as soon as you stop promoting the things that they enjoy and start putting out things that you enjoy, you've lost an audience now. When at the start you could have been putting out things that some audiences might have found cringe, but is true to who you are.
Yeah.
And then you find that audience that is true to you.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
What do you think about because obviously now I'm old. I'm old.
Yeah,
I'm
she's an
old.
adult now.
I'm older than you. And so I feel like there's a very stark difference in how, well, there's obviously still people who have the same and haven't really matured, but there's a different environment in university than there is in high school. And I think high school kind of feeds off of cringe culture. I think it's a big part of it, or
Yeah.
shaming someone out
Yeah,
of doing
100%.
something that they like. So what is your experience, or what would you like to say about that?
Well, the thing with high school experiences is that it's basically just people finding out what they want from their life. So the reason why it is based off of cringe and shaming other people for what they do is because they themselves have not really figured out what they want. They just know what is objectively they don't want because that's what they've been told is wrong. So there's many people that I've met over the 5 years, because now I was in year 7, start of school. Now I'm in year 11, last year of high school. So over the 5 years, I've met many people. I've been in many friend groups, and it's quite a recurring theme that people often say that, oh, this is wrong, this is right, and objectively as well. So there's been many people that have been seen as very like respectable, but like under their forefront, like layer of being like extremely respectful and smart and all this nonsense, they've actually been very rude and disrespectful. So towards teachers, they get cocky. So if the teacher says that they've done something wrong, they scoff, maybe speak about the teacher under their breath, stuff like that. And then it's also the people that are objectively like weird, and some people call like the weird group, or people that are quite known for doing like outlandish things. you'll meet them and it'll be like stark contrast. You're going to meet the people who are apparently very respectable and they could be the rudest people. You see the people who are seen as quite awkward, socially awkward, or they've done something wrong, and then they're actually a really nice person, but people have just decided to laugh at them. So that's been my experience, especially going to year 11 and having a completely different friend group than before, which was eye-opening. I used to call people my friends who I've now realized are completely different to how I perceived them before. And I've met truly good people now. And they've been people that some people have said is like they're weird or they've done this, but it's just them actually knowing what they want from their life, and them who, when they don't care what other people think, they do what they like, and then for that they get hate, but it's truly just self-respect. They understand what they like and they're doing what they like. There's no point in thinking of doing a sport and everyone's playing football and you playing football just because everyone's doing it, and then someone playing basketball in a 30 group of people all playing football. They're going to be kind of weird because they're on their own and they're doing something different, but it's them who are truly having fun. Because let's be honest, 25 of the 30 others that are doing football, they're probably just doing it because everyone else did. They're just following the crowd. They're just sheeps to a shepherd.
Oh.
So it's extremely important, I find now more than ever, that I do what I like rather than what other people like, because I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a clown to somebody. I shouldn't be putting in my effort to make someone else happy. I should be putting in my own effort to make myself happy. And that is time, that's energy and everything. So I've truly understood that it's not about what other people like. As long as you know what you like, you should be doing that.
That was really well said.
Took the words right out of your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, overused phrase now. I'm gonna classify that as cringe. Ding 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 ding. Talked about high school and how friend groups change a little bit, and how that can be seen as cringe, and how cringe, the definition of cringe changes. Why the definition of cringe changes? What is cringe? We've kind of answered a lot of that.
Yeah, very productive 20 minutes.
Very productive 20 minutes. What else would we like to talk about?
I think it's also that cringe actually, you asked what is cringe and how cringe changes. It's seeing two different groups of people. Cringe is quite literally the opposite. Someone who says oh, just follow the crowd, do what's right, and keep your head down, just get the work done. In one group will be seen as normal, and the other group is going to be seen as cringe. Oh, you should be your own person, have your own personality, do what you like. And then that complete idea would be seen as cringe from the first group, who just wants to follow the crowd, keep their head down, just do the norm. And that is truly what separates most people into two groups: the successful and the people who their dreams never come to life. And literally, I saw this quote where it was that a dream that you find the most important to you, that you are happy over, that you put your whole energy and time over, you tell someone else that, they're not going to respond in the same way that you responded. And that's a real letdown. And that's why it's more important that you keep your dreams to yourself, your goals, you understand them, you understand what you want from your life, and you keep going. Because if you tell someone else that, they're going to belittle your goals. Even if they're envious towards your goal, they're going to make it sound like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal, so that they belittle you as a person so that they have an upper hand. So it's eye-opening, really, to be able to see what you want from your life and be able to work towards it. And it was perfect timing with me having my GCSE soon. So it was
I think I had most of my
learning.
epiphanies at a very similar time. I think at the same time.
Which is weird, because when she was having her epiphanies, I would look at her as a kid 2 inches shorter than her.
That's not true.
Okay.
But to be fair, you are taller than me now.
Yeah,
So that's still quite a bit of inches.
But when I was smaller than her, and I was height-wise and age-wise, when I was a kid, when I was in primary school, or in year 7, and she would be doing her GCSEs, I would look up and I would be there yeah, I ain't going up that mountain. because I just saw that as cringe. I'm being serious. The music she would listen to, the movies, the hobbies that she would do, I would literally see that as cringe. I would
Now you've got the same music taste as well. The same, yeah.
I
You've
would
got
be
the
like,
same
oh
taste.
yeah, I would never do that in my whole entire life. That sounds the deadest thing. Am I right? But now I've come to the realization where that ain't cringe. Others that might find that cringe, but me personally, that's probably like the normalest thing to do. And
I think dabbling in different things is really important to find who you want to be. And I think that is cringe. So like let's say K-pop. K-pop has always been cringe, right?
I used to like
To
K-pop.
a lot of people. To a lot of people K-pop has been that's not coming from me. Me, my friends, we all like K-pop. But K-pop has always been cringe to a lot of the Western audience. And again, that's because it's different and people who are dabbling in
Racist.
other things. Well, I'm glad you're saying the things I'm trying not to say.
Racist.
Um,
Discriminatory language.
And yeah, and I think being cringe is a part of life. Like it's a part of growing up. That's being cringe. You might look at I think a lot of fashionistas and people who go into fashion and go into acting and anything like that. They look at their old projects. I look at my old editing and I'm like, oh, and they find that cringe. But it's a learning point. You got to start somewhere, or else you're not going to get anywhere, right? And so I try not to look at little me and think, oh,
Word.
she was cringe. I like to look at little me and go, oh, you know, she was learning, and now we're here, and now we've learned.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't do that. Oh, yes, thank God I didn't spend more time in that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so happy with where I am now. And she's going to grow up, get to 30, and she'll be like, what the flip was I doing?
I think I'll always be thinking, what the heck am I doing? But at least I'm doing
Just
something.
wing it, bro. Just
I'm
wing it.
trying to, yeah, I'm winging it. I am the perfect
Go with
middle
the
of
flow.
having everything planned out and being completely winging it.
Well, isn't that what university is literally for?
Isn't or is?
Isn't.
No, I think 90% of us are winging it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
So it is
Isn't
for
it?
that.
Yeah. I said, isn't it for that? And you're
Oh,
supposed
yeah,
to say,
yeah,
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 it is
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Because I feel like it's where you want, you know what you want, and then when you get out of it, you're gonna get it. But it's that little gap where you're trying to work towards being able to get it, where it's kind of just, oh yeah, just do, like, try your best.
Yeah, you're
Wing
winging it.
Go with the flow and try to get
Take a day at a time, or else
Yeah.
it becomes too much.
it. So, now what are your passions?
My passion is this. My passion is editing, video making. It's always been my passion. That's why, okay, little bit of a backstory because I haven't actually said this.
Backstory.
We've always made videos together, and I've always edited them.
And I've always enjoyed them.
Oh, me too.
Aw, me too.
And usually it's like little. Well, it's a really long video. I think we videoed like for an hour and something last time, and I cut it down for like 5 minutes, and it was just a laugh. But we've always made videos together, and that's because we enjoy it. We enjoy.
Oh, remember a layup for today? Oh, prime time.
We enjoy making the videos, whether it be talking, whether it be layups. I recorded his layups, and edited them to be a little bit
edited
funny. I edited it.
Edited it?
I edited it.
Oh, I didn't edit it.
I didn't edit it.
Oh. Anyway.
So this is my passion. My other passion is writing. I've already said this, and you guys already know
Aspiring
this.
writer.
Aspiring writer,
Passion
self-proclaimed
over
artist.
That was actually authentic. I actually mistakenly said it wrong again.
What did you
Passion
say?
over perfection.
Perfectionist.
So, my passions. Thank you for asking about my passions.
I did
My
before we
passions-
started.
Before we started, so when it wasn't on camera.
Yeah. That was the point of this. I was supposed to ask you, what are your passions? Do you think anything prevents you from your passions? Do you think that the cringe culture prevents you from your passions? Has it prevented you with your passions? I'm just going to ask you all of the questions now because you'll remember them and I won't.
Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you so much for bombarding me with so much.
Thank you. Have you seen it?
No.
My passions are drawing. I like drawing.
Drawing.
I drew. Last time I drew Venom. Time before that, I drew a Green Arrow. I also like writing. Writing is quite fun. need to get into more writing. I kind
Is
of
that what you're
just
gonna do in the summer?
yeah, I kind of just openly write sometimes.
It's because you have
do a bit of-
literature to do.
Yeah, I do a bit of journaling. I also like working out.
He does.
Working out, swimming, going to the gym. I like those, and probably like media and technology. Playing video games, listening to music, watching movies, televisions, reading comics, stuff like that.
So these are your passions. This is something you're really passionate about.
I'm very passionate.
What about societally? What are you passionate
What
about?
does that mean?
Do you think having passions is cringe? Because I think the point of passions being cringe is you're so emotionally invested in something that people are like, oh, that's cringe. Because I think detachment is sold a lot, especially through media, especially through patriarchy, actually, for men, for boys, that you shouldn't really be emotional and therefore you shouldn't really be passionate at that point, unless it's something that this is a different conversation, but unless it benefits them, especially if it benefits the economy, then all of the passions are. This is a really long conversation I'm not going to go into right now, but then all of the passions are completely fine. Everything is fine as long as it benefits the economy. Beep. You're not in America. I'm going to blur that up. Beep. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Sorry, what did I say?
just saying.
Did I ask anything?
I feel like if you did, then that's going to be really awkward because I would just evaded that question completely. You started talking about patriarchy and stuff. Have you ever given up a passion because you thought it was cringe?
I don't think so. I think I've have most of my passions. I know obviously
She doesn't back
it
down.
was it no it, I think it's harder if the people who think you're cringe are the people you want to support you.
Oh, to support you.
So like obviously when I was older and you were younger there were things I did that you found cringe, and that was more difficult than if like a random person thought I was cringe, because then I was like, damn, I can't share this with him. Hence why I genuinely, it terrifies me showing you something that I'm currently working on. Like if when I started my novel and I was like, oh, I'm doing this, I was like, ah.
I think I was very positive towards that.
Yeah. It's just not
Also-
your cup of tea.
Writing's my cup of tea, characters, arcs, story arcs, stuff like that is my tea. So that's why I was quite positive towards it. Even if it's
You
like
gave me a lot of ideas. to be
yeah,
fair.
no, even if it's not like a specific storyline, a plot, like characters that I resonate with, that I agree with, you obviously do because they're your characters, but also like your audience will because they're the audience to the thing. It's what they want. But the key idea of writing for passion and writing what you like and your ideas, putting your ideas into words on a page, I think that's amazing. Even if it's typing onto a screen, either way, I think it's really important for yourself because you're also giving an outlet to your thoughts, your ideas. You're giving a voice to your thoughts and your ideas, which is very important. And then it's also things that you find important you can put out there as, oh yeah, something that like the characters are saying and stuff like that, which is also quite cool because I love it when I see characters being raisonneurs to the writers and voicing out what the writer's thoughts are without the writer being like held accountable for it, because it's so easy to like criticize when it's much more difficult to accept.
Do you think that the idea of cringe bleeds into, like I was saying, patriarchy, or the way? Do you think cringe is different for females and males in the society?
For females and males,
What do you think?
I
As a
think
male,
as a male,
as a self-proclaimed male.
as an objectively male. So as a male who has had male friendships, I think it's like a very normal thing that guys tend to want other guys to be proud of them and like understand them, and then that's like the whole of patriarchy, whereas like men trying to impress other men by doing manly stuff, which is made by the men that they're trying to impress. So it's quite an odd idea, but I've seen it firsthand, and it is very true. Even if I would like personally not want it to be true, because it's like it stops people from having their own identity, wanting to prove um who they are to other people, because then they kind of lose themselves during it. But I think it also, because males are like, although in media females are represented as being more like, oh, trying to make their friends happy, trying to make their friends impressed, it's very much, I've seen it a lot in male friendships, and that's why cringe, I feel like, impacts males much more, because if you say it directly, they won't care. But if you say what they're doing is weird, or you undermine what they're doing, they'll be hurt, because it's like it's right blow to them, because it's basically saying, oh yeah, you know, the thing that you really like, you really enjoy, and stuff that you're spending your time on, yeah, it's a complete and utter waste of time. You know, we will not accept you if you do that. And it's like a pack of wolves, you know, we want to be accepted, because if we're not, well, then you're just going to be on your own in this world, you know. You might have a different predator. Even if you're the apex predator, you're always going to be afraid of something, you know, whether it's people being afraid of the dark, or spiders, death, or heights, anything. So it's like, be nice, accept others, and as long as it doesn't affect you, don't care.
I think I saw a writer say that the difference between men and women in society nowadays is, and she was saying that, to be fair, it's kind of even easier to be women. And the reason why is because they've been trained to question. They've been trained to be like, oh, you hate me? Okay, good for you. Because the patriarchy exists, they've been trained to be able to, you know, speak for themselves. Whereas men don't get that training. They're trained to listen to everyone else and follow rules. They're not trained to question, because what are they questioning? They're questioning something that other men made, so why would they question that?
100%.
So I think that's kind of what you're saying as well.
It's like especially important when someone thinks that they don't know 100% on what they think, and the other person doesn't
It's
either.
upside down.
Yeah, I know. Where some people may think that, oh yeah, I don't fully understand this thing, and they'll automatically just accept that the other person knows 100% about it, even if they know the exact same about as you do, but they're just confident with it. So they just say, oh yeah, it's fact. They present it as a fact, even if they probably even like if what they know is wrong, they'll just make it seem like it's right, and you're the person who doesn't know enough. So that's why it's like, oh yeah, just don't question it, just go with the flow. And that's where most people go wrong, and that's where people start making mistakes, is where they just think that, oh yeah, I don't know enough, and clearly if this person talking about it, then they must know everything. Where it's more like, the more you think you don't know, that's the more you know, because the person that thinks that they know it all has capped themselves off to what they know. They're saying, oh yeah, I know it all, so there's nothing more to this.
There's a
And
curiosity is
yeah,
where you get knowledge from. If you think that you know everything, there's no curiosity, there's nothing to learn. And so you won't absorb any more information because you think you're superior to that knowledge. And that makes you inferior.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's the thing where a dumb person is going to think they're so smart. But a smart person is going to think they're dumb because they know that they only know a portion of everything that there is to know.
Yeah.
Do you think the word cringe is still used?
Cringe, I haven't heard it in a while.
I haven't heard it in a while
But I think
either.
these days people are just like straight up just say, oh yeah, oh no, that's weird, or don't do that, or something like that.
I think the concept of cringe is kind of just...
The concept of cringe has been there from the start, and I feel like it's going to be there
It's
forever.
just about the word, I mean.
I feel like they haven't really. I don't know.
The concept of the
I
word
think,
isn't
yeah,
there anymore,
the
but the
concept of the
concept
word-
exists through other means of conversation.
I think the concept of the word came in during like 2016, 2017.
Yeah,
and
so
then
I think when you think of
2016.
cringe as well, you think of like a influencer or like
I think it was
online.
I think it was a trend where you start calling things cringe, and then the trend went. So then the idea went. But yeah, it's still a thing, and people still think it, you know.
Yeah, and before we started recording, we said peer pressure. The word peer pressure is kind of... What are you even
Holding it
doing?
like this.
Okay.
I just start holding it like this.
how the word peer pressure is kind of cringe to a lot of people, and so it's not really used. Even if peer pressure is there, we don't really use the word peer pressure because I think it's because it's taught so much and overused that it becomes this like academic thing where if anyone even says, "Oh, it's peer pressure," everyone's kind of just gonna look at them like, that's such 100%. An odd thing to say.
Yeah.
So yeah. Overusing concepts becomes cringe as well.
Because it's like once you've used it so much, you kind of, it's like even in a speech or like in a piece of writing, the second you've said a word, you're trying to think of alternatives to not say it again. Because the second you say it again and again and again, it kind of just loses its meaning. So if you say like substantial, which is like, oh, very big, and then you just say it again and again, then everything's substantial.
It's like a child who's found his new favorite word.
Yeah, and it's like if you say that everything's great, then nothing's great because everything's great.
It's true.
So it's kind of like you gotta vary things. If you say everything's cringe, then the only normal thing now is cringe because everything else is cringe. So it's kind of like subjective based on how things are in relation to another is how you use a term.
You're gonna love sociology.
How are female friendships?
I don't think we have. Obviously, we've got the stereotypical like mean girl kind of
get in the car, everybody shopping.
Obviously, there's some groups, like some cliques, where it's like,
cliques.
Oh my god, you have to do this, you have to do that. Oh my god, you have to be popular.
You have to.
And so anyone else is unpopular is cringe, I guess. But I don't think you have it as much, or maybe it's just the friendships I've been in. I don't think anyone calls each other cringe.
No, not me. Yeah, but I don't think anyone.
No, as in
each other cringe.
Even without the words, then nobody really.
I feel like cringe is cringe.
Cringe is cringe.
Cringe is
the
cringe.
idea of cringe is cringe.
No. The
someone
word
calls cringe
cringe
is cringe.
I
think it's because it's
cringe.
Yeah,
well.
it just makes you cringe.
Makes you cringe. It makes you cringe.
Makes you cringe.
Oh my god, it makes you cringe. Like,
yeah. That's a wrap. Welcome to the hopefully second, third, maybe episode of Passion Over Perfection, Pop. And stay tuned for us to talk about anything and everything that we are passionate about.
People.
Bye-bye.
Pen, pineapple, apple, pen. That's
gonna be my outro now.
No!